Hey travelers, Marcello here from Wandering Trader. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about, is Medellin safe now? So we're here in, we're actually not in Colombia. This is in beautiful St. Lucia, Caribbean. We're here kind of escaping for the new year, kind of getting ready for everything. And I've been in Medellin now for, I think it's going on 4 years. And I still think that there's this perception of the country and the city. Obviously, they just recently found the peace agreement. They just really signed that. So that kind of helps with the image of the country, but I really wanted to kind of delve deep and talk a little bit about the country, the city, what it's been like, and obviously if it's really dangerous or not. I personally have never had a problem, not once. Well, once, but I'll tell you guys that in a second. I've never had an issue in Medellin, not once. Nobody's ever robbed me, nobody's ever stolen from me anywhere. There was one situation where I was at a light. I was in a taxi. I always sit in the front seat just because, you know, you never know. And I had the phone in my hands like this, and when I looked to my right, that's when I saw two, let's say, guys that didn't look very appeasing. And that's when the taxi driver actually told me that they were onto us and they were really looking at us. And it's not something that was necessarily a good thing, if you know what I mean. And what I decided to do was I had the guy stop the taxi. I got out and I started yelling at him because I was upset that they were trying to take my phone. Not the smartest thing to do in the country of Colombia or even Medellin. So what I'm trying to describe to you guys here is that Medellin isn't as dangerous as it's led to believe. Nowhere near that much. And most of the stories that you guys hear in the news about a guy getting robbed or some guy dying, they're generally involved with less savory people. And I know that most of you guys that travel around the world know that if you're going to get involved in that kind of stuff, well, you're going to suffer the consequences if you get caught. So I think the majority of the stories in the news, the majority of the people who they talk about in the news that got robbed or stolen or whatever, most of them, not all, most of them are involved with some things that they shouldn't be, like a drug trade or underage prostitution, which I don't condone at all. There's plenty of beautiful women in the city of Medellin. Don't go underage. So I think it's important to be able to understand that the city isn't as dangerous as it used to be, and yes, I would consider it safe, especially for the majority of you guys who are only going to stay in one area. I know a lot of tourists now are kind of venturing out of Poblado, but whether it's Envigado or Laureles or Estadio or Robledo, most of you guys aren't really going to go to the dangerous part, so to speak. And I think that the real thing that you guys have to consider for the most part is, as the clouds are coming in here, is just be careful. I mean, it's not, for me, I've been traveling now for, I think I counted it the other day, since 2000, I believe 9. So we're 2017, I've been on the road 8 years. I've never been robbed, nobody ever stole from me, nobody took my passport. And I don't necessarily think that you have to be overly careful, but it's just common sense things, right? If you're out late at night, just keep an eye on your surroundings. If you get plastered and you can't find your way back to the hostel, you're probably going to be targeted. Not to say that you shouldn't go out and have fun, because obviously everybody should, right? Whatever your type of fun is, whether it's reading a book, staying here, this beautiful pool here on St. Lucia, or even you know, going out and partying and drinking and stuff like that, whatever you're into, just keep an eye on your surroundings and don't do anything obviously stupid, right? I do have friends that have had things happen to them in Medellin. I know a buddy of mine who did get stolen, robbed in a cab. They took his passport. I know other people that have been quote-unquote threatened, but I really think it comes down to, as long as you're in the city not doing something you're not supposed to, you have a lot better chance of not having something happen happen to you, so to speak. The city is absolutely beautiful. I've seen it grow. You know, when I first got there, I didn't have any tourists or gringos in the place where I live, which is Laureles. Now they're kind of creeping in. You know, everybody obviously loves the neighborhood. It's very homey. There's beautiful restaurants and all kinds of things around. So, you know, just to kind of finalize the video as these ants are coming for me, Medellin is definitely safe, but it's not like New York safe. It's not United States safe. I wouldn't say Europe safe, because I think things are changing now in Europe, but you can go to the city, not have a problem at all. And one thing I do want to say to the majority of you guys that are thinking about going to the city or even Colombia, I would spend more time in Medellin than I would in Bogota. Bogota I don't really like at all. If you're a foodie, I would recommend you spend a few more days in Bogota, but Medellin is a city that you really have to feel. There's not really a lot of things to see, so to speak, with tourist attractions, but the people are just absolutely beautiful. They're great, they're friendly. Obviously, you guys know the beautiful women. So I just wanted to convey that in this video, guys. I'm going to obviously start to try and put together a lot more videos for you as well here on the travel site. And you know, for the most of you guys, most of the neighborhoods are fine to stay in, whether it's Poblado, Laureles, Envigado, or even Robledo or Estadio, which a lot of you go. Some more adventurous ones go to Belén or even Bello, which is the city in the north, but it's really not that dangerous. But it's not, you know, it's not going to be something like where you can go around and like Miami or New York, where all your defenses are down. I think that Medellin is a city where things can happen to you. They're not likely anymore, because obviously there's a situation where they're very considerate of the fact that obviously the city is growing. You know, there's a lot of tourism that brings in a lot of money, so they don't want anything to happen to foreigners or to tourists at all. Me living there, I've gotten a much different perspective from the city than most of you guys will get. If you guys want a more local experience, I would get out of Poblado. I'd go to Envigado or even Laureles, Estadio even. It's a little bit more gritty. But for the most part, I don't think you necessarily have to worry too much. I think overall, even with the peace deal, I think that most of you guys will know that it's turning into a place that's up and coming. When I first got to Medellin, it was really a small town, and now it's kind of like a teenager, so to speak. There's very nice French restaurants. There's a lot of places to eat, a lot of kind of fine bars and dining to try. So I'm really glad to kind of be sitting here and promoting it, because obviously I think it's a great city not only to visit but to live. I've been traveling around the world, as I mentioned, for 9 years, and that's where I decided to stay. And I really think that most of you guys will definitely enjoy it. So I think I'll leave the video here for you guys with this beautiful view. As always, you guys can ask me any questions you like here on YouTube or even through the site wanderingtrader.com. I'd be happy to help you out with anything, and there's a ton of sites. Also, if you guys want, check out Medellin Living, which is my buddy Dave's site. It has great information on the city. Everything from little sushi spots to best cafes, for those of you guys that work at cafes. And that's pretty much about it, guys. So we'll talk soon. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll leave you here with the view. Ciao.